Hey guys, it's Jake here from HookahRev.com bringing an official video on how to pack your Vortex bowl. So, what do we know about the Vortex bowl? It is much different to a regular traditional bowl. It has 4 holes in the middle of the spy here. That's what really differentiates this from a funnel bowl. It actually smokes quite differently just because you're packing it around the actual bowl itself, but you're leaving it definitely far below the foil level here, and you're letting the holes in the spire do the work for you. So that's how the smoke generates. You basically put the coals on top after you put your foil on, and what it does is sucks the heat, the smoke, whatever you want to call it, all through the middle of the spire here, rather than straight down the middle of the hole, or through traditional 4 holes in the bottom of the bowl like you see in an Egyptian or a mod bowl. So let's get on to the tutorial. Alright, so here you have the Vortex bowl. I personally have 3 just because I'm not entirely sure why, but I have 3. So the thing you need to know about the Vortex bowl, and I'm going to use this purple one just because it shows up a little bit better on camera, but the thing that you need to understand about the Vortex bowl is that it consists of 4 holes in the middle of the spire here. So it's a little different to the funnel bowl in the aspect that it doesn't actually have a hole down the middle of the entire bowl itself, but rather it draws the smoke and the heat through these 4 small holes that should be evenly spaced all throughout. As far as maintenance for this type of bowl, what you want to do is before and after you actually smoke this, or use the bowl, you want to run the tap through this end right here, and you'll see the water squirt out through the bottom through the spire. It's a good indication of finding out if you have actually any kind of residue or any kind of molasses that built up in the holes that's actually going to prevent airflow. So if there is, what you want to do is grab a poker like this, or you can even use like a cotton swab if it's not too severe, but very, very carefully you want to go around and scrape away at that residue. Just a word of warning here. I have done this to one of my Vortex bowls here. I went in a little too rough because I did have a lot of residue, and I actually snapped this whole top off. Just be careful that you can see that the heat actually chars this. It makes it a little bit more sensitive here. So just be careful when you're doing that. So what you want to do is grab your tobacco. Can you guess which review's coming next? Grab your tobacco. Now this bowl does work best for juicy cuts like Starbuzz, Fumari, not so much with the Alfaker. Some have known to get it working well, but definitely brands like Starbuzz. So what you want to do is sprinkle it all around the bowl, kind of breaking it up as you go. All right. And the beauty about the Vortex bowl is you do save a lot of shisha. So you can see I barely use barely 15 grams of tobacco there, and it looks severely underpacked. I'm actually going to add a little bit more on the side right here. It looks severely underpacked, but just because of the way that the Vortex bowl actually works, it's enough shisha. So just make sure to get it sprinkled evenly and distribute it throughout the entire bowl, and make sure to keep it, if you can see kind of that char line there, make sure to keep everything below that line, because with the Vortex bowl you definitely don't want any of the shisha touching the foil itself, or else it is going to burn. But if you pack it under like this, and if you pack the tobacco not as deep or not as much, you're going to get an excellent session out of this. So I've got the coals going. I'm going to throw some foil on here and show you the whole pattern here. So 2 pieces of regular duty foils, both shiny side down. Place that over the bowl, wrap it around tight just like you would any other bowl. And what I like to do is go all the way down 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can just do a series of holes around the bowl like so, and just leave that a little empty for the middle spire there. Now it does look like I'm using far too few holes, and especially considering how I pack my funnel bowls, but this is the way that your Vortex bowl is going to smoke the best, because you're going to throw 3 coals on here, but you don't want to char the tobacco. You want to make sure that it heats evenly and distributes around, just let the spire do the work here. So as I'm getting the coals burnt up or heated up here, I will show you in the meantime the rotation on how I like to use my coals. So I've got 3 coconaras. Basically I place them kind of closer to the edge right there, like so. And depending on the quality shisha you're using, like for Starbuzz, I easily can go through 2 coal rotations. And as you know, coconut last about an hour to an hour and a half each. So pretty much like this, with the first placement here, you're going to get about an hour. I would say an hour safely. And then once those are done, just scrape that off with your tongs, and then get another set of coals and just plop them on like this. Now, if you're using a different type of tobacco that maybe requires less heat or just doesn't keep up as much, what you can do is also place the coals on the side after you've lit them up. That way, it's actually distributing heat evenly on the fresh parts of the tobacco rather than what you've already smoked. So let's get on to see how this is smoking. Welcome back. Let's see how it's smoking. So as I showed you guys, got the 3 coconut coals on top there, kind of slightly veering off the edge of the bowl there, and it just works. It works the best because 3 coals is, I don't want to say it's too much heat, but it is quite a lot of heat going onto the bowl itself. But definitely with a Vortex bowl, it's extremely difficult to char your shisha unless you're overpacking it or packing way too much in there. So just follow those easy steps. Just make sure you're sprinkling it in really lightly, not too much at all. Like I said, this is a shisha saver. But I mean, the flavor is immense. The clouds are there, as you can see. Take one more pull for you. So the clouds are good, even with the Vortex bowl. It's definitely up there. I would say the main difference between a Tangiers and a Vortex bowl, or I'm sorry, a funnel bowl and a Vortex bowl, it's really like a Pepsi versus Coke argument. You're never really going to say which one's better. Definitely certain tobaccos work best with the Vortex bowl, and certain tobaccos only work best with the funnel bowl itself. So just depending on what you're smoking. So let's recap on the different types of tobacco actually. So for the Vortex bowl, you want to use that to smoke the really juicy flavors such as Starbuzz, Fumari, Fantasia, don't forget the Hookah Evolution line, as well as the I Am Zaman. All those types of shishas are going to work best in a Vortex bowl. But then you've got Tangiers Lucid, of course, and Al-Fakr, all those, and even Nakwa actually. They all work best in a funnel bowl. So it really just depends on your preference. I mean, there is a way to actually pack them in, or all the different tobaccos in each of these types of bowls, but those are the tobaccos that are going to work best in whichever bowl that I specified it. So this was Jake from HookahRev.com bringing you a tutorial video on how to pack your Vortex bowl. Be sure to subscribe, comment below, let us know how it worked for you, and be sure to check out the site HookahRev.com. Till next time.